Good morning. Tuesday this week. We had Labor Day yesterday, so I thought I would skip that. But Tuesday morning, what is, what isn't, right? So last week we graduated another class at Northrop Grumman across the water over here, and one of our speakers made the comment that he's an introvert. And sometimes, and that got me thinking, that sometimes we get confused from somebody being introverted or insecure. They don't always go together. I mean, they're two different things, right? So last Friday I was having coffee with a former colleague and a friend of mine, and we got into that conversation, and we were talking about introverts and the success of introverts and insecurity and how some people can take that wrong. That insecure person is always, they're looking for the worst. I mean, it just seems to be that type of a person. They don't trust other people. They always got this feeling like they're doomed to fail, or they make excuses too, right? Whereas the introvert, many times, extremely successful. And it really, it's not a negative to be introverted. I feel like I am that way. In many cases I am. But a third word came into it, and that third word was arrogance. And that's where it really gets interesting. Now, I've always been a person that has been very observant of other individuals. I always try to take a look at what's going on. Where this friend of mine, he was talking about research and the academic side of it, and loving books that had a ton of footnotes in it because the people did the research and everything else. And that's good. That's really good. And you can research so many things. I think if I was looking at some medical cure for something, I would want to do a lot of research. Yet we are creatures of emotion. That's what we are as people. We're emotional. And when we look at one another, I mean, you don't need a ton of research. Now, maybe if you're looking at a criminal history or something along those lines, where you're a person that is doing a case study on some individual's life and the interaction of with other people, or you're trying to find out if this person has a criminal past or whatever, your research is very important. Yet if you're just looking at people and meeting people for the first time, that heart, that gut instinct is what you really go to. And that's what I've always been about. So when I talk about, the fact that somebody is introverted, why do we put a negativity on that? I mean, we shouldn't. There's a lot of hugely successful introverted people. And yet, society kind of puts a tag on them and says, oh, you're an introvert. It's not a negativity. Now, when you add the insecurity to that, don't get mixed up. There are a lot of extroverted people that are insecure. And there are a lot of arrogant people that are hiding their insecurities. So labeling anybody is not a great idea. It really isn't. You want to learn how to read people. And if you're an introvert, like we talked about last Friday about your comfort zone, there are times that an introvert leaves that comfort zone of their being that introvert, and they exit that because they know there are times that they have to be extrovert. So they go out and they do things, and they can always go back to their introverted life, which is not a negative. And stop making people feel that way. It's okay to be that way. And it's okay to be extroverted. But just don't read people by the label. Just because you're an extrovert doesn't mean you're going to be a great salesperson, all right? It doesn't mean that you're going to be a great leader, because you have to look to see, is that person really an extrovert, or are they masking something? Are they hiding something? Is there something hidden behind that facade that they're putting on for you? And what are they really? And does it matter? No. As long as you understand that this is the playing of the game and this is where we are, let's go at it. It's the arrogant side of it, that better than you type of attitude that really, I think that's the one that grinds me the most. The insecure person, yeah, they bug me because they're always making excuses, or it's not me, it's somebody else is to blame. They're real quick to cut other people down, just because they feel like if they cut the other person down, it builds them up, right? That does bother me a lot. It's troublesome in life. It's troublesome in relationships. Yet the key, in my mind, is that person that walks with the swagger and the cocky talk, yet they can't back it up. That's the arrogant side of things, where I'm better than you. I don't go for that one. So don't just think because somebody is introverted that they're insecure. They're not. It could be, but it's not. The two don't go together hand in hand. I see it all the time. I like to see people come out of their shell. And when you talk about getting somebody out of their shell, out of their comfort zone, they can still be an introvert. And that's okay. And they can be great leaders. So that's okay. So don't just quickly label people. And all the research in the world, when you walk into somebody's office, you don't have it. And you can't sit there and say somebody at Harvard came up with some great idea that a person that walks this way, talks this way, must be this way. Use your own gut. Use your own heart. Evaluate people based on how they treat you. And treat them like they're gold, no matter who they are. Be grateful that you have a contact with somebody and that you're able to communicate with somebody. So enjoy your day. Take a look at people around you. Don't label them. Accept them. Enjoy them. Have fun. But just because you're introverted doesn't mean you can't soar to the tops of the clouds. You can do whatever you want. You don't have to be somebody else. Be you. Nobody else is you. And just be the best you can be. Have a wonderful day. Have a great week. And for my cohorts here along the state of Florida and the coast, it looks like it could be a rough end of the week. Thoughts and prayers to everybody down there coming through the Bahamas and Cuba and Puerto Rico and everybody down in the Caribbean. Prayers to all of us, and hope we get through this. Harvey and Irma could be a terrible 1-2 punch. So if you have friends in Florida and in the Caribbean, say some prayers. Have a great day. Talk to you on Friday.